Welcome to the first in hopefully a series of videos featuring different Sentinel steam wagons. In this episode, Peter Miller discusses the history and operation of this Sentinel Super called Maggie May, which was built in 1924.
How long have we known each other then, Tim?
I don't know, Pete, 40 years?
Something like that, yeah.
Must be 40.
Yeah, 40 years in the club, so yeah, about 40 years.
Must be 40 years, yeah.
Yeah, so this is your wagon?
It is, yeah.
Family wagon?
Family's wagon, yeah. I'm just the custodian at the moment.
Yeah, and then you've got Jake.
Jake's coming on, my son, yeah, he's coming on. We'll just have to get him making the next generation onto that one. Getting that sorted out.
They're firing now, and Jake's driving, isn't he?
Jake's driving, yeah. They're him and Tom, who Roger, you know Roger, looked after it for many years with me, and his son Tom is now following in Roger's footsteps. And
so you've got like another generation of backup crew.
Yeah, we have. And it's very good actually. It's nice to have people you can trust.
Yes,
you know. They've got as much interest in it. Oh, very.
Well, my lad's been. I've driven. My lad's been firing as well.
Yeah.
So, what is it?
What it is, a Super Sentinel.
Yes.
Built in 1924.
Yeah. So it's 100 years this year?
It's 100 years this year, yeah. On the 17th of July she was 100 years old.
Oh, right.
Built as a full-length wagon on solid wheels and tyres. She came out of the works. Worked for a brewery.
Who did that belong to? When it first came out?
When it first came out, it worked for Hodgkinson's Brewery at Kingston on Thames.
Oh, right, yeah.
Delivering beer around London and Kingston area, Surrey. And then in the 30s she was bought by Simmons Hunt Montgomery as a wagon, and they had them converted to tractors.
Oh, they had them,
they had them converted to tractors, the two of them. They bought one from Norfolk and this one from Kingston, and they had them converted to tractors because of the weight restriction. The tax on wagons was very high then, so they taxed them as tractors then. And then Simmons Hunt Montgomery were bought lock, stock and barrel by Criddles, well, by Billington's, who was their parent company, and put into Criddles colours. And she was used then for towing trailers from the docks, Herculaneum dock in Liverpool specifically, towing anything to make animal feed out of, up to the mill, which was on Great Homer Street, off Scotland Road. So it was peanuts, maize, corn, all that kind of thing.
Oh, right. Did they just have one?
No, they had four originally. Yeah. 3 of them survived. One was apparently cut up when they wanted spares for the others.
Right.
So this apparently had the engine out of EX 1600, which was the one they cut up. This had the engine and gearbox.
Oh, right.
Not gearbox, is it? It doesn't have a gearbox, but the engine and crankcase. We recently rebuilt it. We spent a lot of money on the engine, and actually on the ends of the camshafts it's stamped 1925.
Oh, right.
So we know it's not an original engine. So that's the only clue we've got.
Or the crankshaft.
Or the camshafts were moved. But apparently she broke a crank. That's the story we've heard, that she broke a crank, and that's why it was. But it would be easier in those days just to take the engine out and stick a new engine in. You know, taking bits off and all that would have been.
If it was all complete and running, why bother taking one to bits and just take one out?
Just
hopefully just slot it back in.
So we believe that's what happened. And then she worked like that till 1963 for Criddles, and then my dad bought her in 1964, late 64. So she was owned in between time by Stan Wedgwood. He had her for a very short time.
So it is coal-fired, this one.
Oh, it is coal-fired,
Coal-fired. And how much water does this tank hold around the back?
The tank holds 500 gallons.
500 gallons? So
we've never tested it to run it dry, but we think that'll take us about 70 miles.
Oh, right.
70, 80 miles.
when was it changed onto pneumatics?
I don't know.
Oh right.
No idea.
Yeah.
I presume it was when it was changed to a tractor, but we don't know.
Oh
There's
right.
Never found that out.
Yeah. Kenneth Moore, was it, who was the actor?
Yeah, the actor Kenneth Moore worked at Sentinel.
Yeah, because that's one of his jobs for changing the wheels on these.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know what he did, but I knew he worked there.
Yes, yeah. Just have a look in the cab.
Yeah.
See what we've got in here then. So, I'll stand this side.
Right. Yeah, what you've got in the cab.
I presume that's the boiler.
Yeah, you've got the boiler there. You can see the water gauge telling you how much water's in the boiler. You've got a feed water heater here, so the exhaust from the engine comes into this box, out at the front and up the chimney, and the cold water from the tank runs through a coil inside that, so the feed water is warmed before it goes into the boiler to stop the pressure drop or reduce the pressure drop. And then we've got a safety valve that's got the blue glove on it, because otherwise it chucks water at you when it goes off.
The blue glove.
And then just behind that you've got your superheater coil. That's the wet steam going into the superheater to be superheated, comes out at the other side into your regulator block.
Well, what pressure does it work at?
255.
255?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's this here for then, Tim?
That's the trailer handbrake.
Oh right, yeah.
So, because they were always working with trailers, they had the handbrake that the fireman had to wind on.
Ah, the fireman had to do that.
Yeah, that was his job, or one of his jobs. And then on the front of the bunker, you've got the handle nearest the fireman here. In the middle is the pump control, water pump control. So the fireman had control of that as well. He put the pump on and off when he needed water.
To pump it in the boiler to keep
into
the level
boiler,
in the sight glass.
Yeah. And then the other lever is just an engine drain.
Engine drain to warm it up. To take the condense out.
Get the condense out, and then also when you're going to set off, you leave that open. Open the regulator and blow steam through the engine to warm it up first.
And how much coal is it all in the bunker?
About half a ton.
Half a ton.
Yeah.
And how far? Depending on what coal it is.
Well,
how far do you reckon you're going to go?
That's a big if.
Yeah.
We got here on probably quarter of a ton, and that's 65 miles.
65 miles. Yeah.
So we did about a quarter of a ton.
Yeah.
So that's half a bunker.
Yeah.
So it's a lot better since we've had the engine done up.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot better.
Yeah. And you manage with water at that then?
Yeah. We do always stop and pick up, because you don't want to get onto a rally field with no water in the tank.
No, and also
that's embarrassing.
Also, it's all right everybody having all this water and you can keep going and keep going, but there again, you're not checking the oils, you're not making sure that everything underneath is all working correctly. 30 miles normally, check everything, and then away again. But if you're pounding the road and keep going and going and going, you're not checking underneath.
You're not
to
seeing
see
what's happening. No. And we also found we have to empty the ash pan at the front there.
Yeah.
We have to empty that. Probably on the coal we were burning coming down here, we have to stop every 10 miles and empty that. It's absolutely chock-a-block otherwise. Then you're not getting the draft through to the fire. No. So, but it's always good to have a little stop and a quick check round.
Yeah. Did it come out originally with the electrics on?
It did. Yeah, not these ones. No. But she did. They were, I believe, a £25 optional extra to have the electric lighting set. That was side lights and headlights. Yeah. But it was still an oil back lamp.
Oh right.
So, and interestingly, the windscreens were a £25 optional extra as well.
£25 would be a lot of money, really.
Yeah. Well, she was £675 new with the body on. It had a special brewery body on. Yeah. So when you think that windscreens were £25 more, that was a big lump.
It was, yeah, just to keep the driver and fireman dry.
Well, she didn't have them when she was new.
No.
They didn't. But they had the electric lights so they could see what they were working on, but never mind the comfort of the driver and fireman.
No. I notice yours hasn't got a man on it.
No, never has had.
Never has?
No.
Well,
I don't know whether they were I don't think they were standard fitment. The photo we've got of it in the works, it hasn't got one
No.
on. So,
Perhaps that was an extra as well.
yeah, probably was, yeah. Another 10 bob for that.
Yeah. So this is chain drive, this one.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Shall we just have a look at that?
Yeah. You've got twin cylinder, double acting. Your exhaust valves are all along the bottom. Your inlet valves are all along the top. And to get the steam to the back of the cylinder, so the pistons push forward, you've got these pipes, these transfer pipes.
So, it pushes the steam one way and then back the other way?
Both, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And you've got your packing pieces where your gland packings go in to stop the oil coming through one way and the steam coming out the other.
Yeah.
Trunk guides, your crossheads running there. This is a water pump for pumping water into the boiler. Only works when the wagon's moving.
Because you can't take this without a gear?
No, she's permanently in gear. So then we've got oil sight glass, obviously, and then your chains.
That's the sight glass for the oil in the gearbox?
In the crankcase. Yeah.
And your diffs in there as well?
Diffs in there as part of the crankshaft,
because they're a work of art, aren't they?
They are. We
won't try and explain how they work.
I can't explain how it works because I don't know. I've studied it. I've had the back door off and I've turned the crank to see if you can see exactly how it works. But and my granddad's book, it explains it, and I still can't understand it. So. But yeah, because it's got the diff in the crank, you've got a chain at both sides.
Yeah.
So double chain drive.
I notice it's got no brakes on the front.
No, never fitted with brakes on the front.
Never fitted with that?
No, very few were actually.
Right.
I think only S-types had brakes on the front.
Yeah.
Some of
those. Yeah. So it's only brakes on the back wheels then?
Yeah. Just drum shoes like I was going to say modern
one
cars.
Shoe in this?
No,
well, two.
Got two shoes, yes.
Yeah, as against this one with four.
Yeah. No, we just got two shoes. Work very well. Work off a steam valve in the cab with your foot.
Yeah.
Press that, and they come on.
Yeah.
There's a bit of lag because the steam's got to get from the cab to the cylinder and fill it up and all that.
So you've got to keep warming those up and reading the road well in advance.
Yeah.
And what happens if your brakes don't work?
Well, you've got your handbrake, but if that didn't work, you can put her into mid-position, which will slow it down, or in a dire emergency, into reverse.
And
you can stop it that way, but that is only in dire emergency.
That is your emergency brake.
Yes.
What's that for there then?
It's a filter box for water out of the tank into the pump. So there's a filter inside there, just takes out any big bits.
I see. It goes down into the pump down there. And that's
the pump control. It's always pumping. It never stops pumping when the wagon's running. It just bypasses back up this pipe into the back of the top of the tank if it's not needed in the boiler. Other than that, it goes down that pipe into the feed water heater and then into the boiler.
So shall we have a look round the back?
That's trailer brake.
Oh, trailer brake.
So that connects to the wire on the trailer.
So that goes all the way to the front, to that handle that the fireman plays about with.
That's right. We have got a trailer for it.
Oh right.
We've got a six-wheeler Dyson trailer that goes with it. We think it worked with. We can't prove either way, but we like to think it worked with it. We found a spot of green paint on it when we did it up,
right.
so
it could have been.
It could well have worked with it. We've got photos of it with an identical style of trailer. So we're satisfied that it's even if it didn't work with it, it is the right trailer to be behind the wagon.
And what are these for?
Those are for safety chains off the trailer. We have a chain on because it's a turntable trailer. So we have a chain off each side and we cross them over. So from the right hand side of the trailer goes to the left of the wagon and vice versa. So that if the pin broke or anything like that happened, you've got totally independent way of. At least it will fall. It'll smash into the back of the wagon, probably, but
it's not smashing into anybody else.
No, it's not going to hit anybody else. So that's what they're for.
They've got some nice set of tyres on. Can you still get those size?
You can. Yes. You can. There's a few people got those knocking about now.
It'd be a pretty penny, but we won't talk about how much those are.
No, don't. The chain.
That's a tensioner, is it, I presume?
Push
the back
chain.
Axle back.
Yeah.
Like in your push bike, you just tighten the chain.
Exactly.
Up,
Yeah.
You don't want the chain coming off, do you?
They're not really. No.
Well, what's that there then?
That's your oiler for the steam part of the engine. The crankcase is full of oil, so that's in.
Yeah.
But the cylinders, valves, etc., are oiled by this.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got crank mechanism off the end of the crankshaft.
Yeah.
That moves backwards and forwards, pumps the oil up a pipe here,
Yeah.
and takes it into the regulator block.
Yeah.
And then, as the steam's going through the regulator block to the engine, it picks up the oil and lubricates the engine.
Yeah. So that's total loss then.
It is total loss. Yeah.
Right. So we're in the cab now then, Tim.
Yes.
This is the driver's side. And well, obviously this is the steering wheel.
It is. You're right. Yeah. You have learnt something off me in all these years.
I knew there was something. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Like we said, we've got the bunker in between us here.
Yes.
And the fireman puts the coal in there.
In there. Yeah.
And it just has to drop where it drops. I know on traction engines you have to fire around the box, put it in where you want it, but this you can't. You just throw it in and hope for the best. And saying about the superheater on the other side, this is the superheater coming out after it's gone round and been the steam's been reheated.
Yeah, because the boilers are in two halves.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
The firebox a bit and the outer wrapper.
Yeah, that's what these studs are here. You can see the lip on the edge there, so that's your outer shell, and your firebox is the inner shell. So you've got two flanges come together, and obviously on the top the firebox is on the inside, on the bottom the firebox is on the outside.
With two gaskets in between.
Yes, yeah.
And this one's a bit different, isn't it? Because it's not squashed in the middle.
It isn't, no. At the time when we had to have this, which was around 1990, we couldn't get a proper Sentinel design.
No, nobody was actually making them.
Nobody was making them. So Phil Wedgwood did some drawings, and they fitted one in their wagon that it's all round, still has the cross tubes in it, but to baffle the flames we've got thimble tubes which baffle the flames quite well.
Yeah.
And to be fair, we've never been short of steam.
No.
It was something a lot of people said, oh, you'll have problems with this, you'll have problems with that, but they said the thimbles will make a lot of noise as they're heating up. You can sometimes hear a clicking noise, and that's the gas escaping past the water in the tubes. Yeah. But it doesn't make any difference.
No,
it's perfectly. It works really well. You're never short of steam.
Yeah. So from the engine, the exhaust.
Yeah.
That goes up through that
goes
elbow there.
Via the box down there, comes up through the elbow.
Yeah.
And then is elbowed again. And I think we've got an 1.1 inch blast nozzle in the. You'll see there's a pipe fitted to the front of that.
Yes.
Which is a blower pipe, which when we haven't got a lot of fire in at the moment, but when the wagon is standing still and the fireman needs to take the lid off, if he just takes the lid off, you get a face full of flames.
Yes.
Which is why the cab's cut out here, to allow the flames and smoke out. So what you do, you artificially create blast by just turning that on. And not if you notice the dust came up before, but if you've got, if I turn that off, you'll see the dust starting to come up, and then just flick that on and it keeps the flames and everything down. Also, if you're standing in traffic or anything like that, you get a lot of smoke up through these. So we just whack the blower on just to clear the cab of smoke. Yeah. Makes it more pleasant.
Yeah. And you've got a damper underneath as well.
We have got a damper, just
which you can regulate.
Handbrake lever down at the front there, handbrake looking lever.
Yes.
Just up and down.
Yeah. So what's that one there then, Tim?
That's the tap for the steam for the injector.
Yes.
So we've got a steam injector on this side for putting water in the boiler.
Yeah.
That's the steam tap for it. The water tap is down on the injector itself.
Yeah.
You'll find it's quite unusual, this wagon, because it has an injector mounted on the boiler.
Yeah.
Most of them are underneath under the driver's side.
So that's original design.
It's original design, yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently they had a bit of problem. They get hot. If an injector gets really hot,
Yes.
it doesn't work.
Yes.
And because this is gravity fed,
Yes.
so as soon as you turn the tap on, there's water there. You don't rely on the steam to suck it up.
To pull it up from the tank
So
underneath.
it never needed to be moved. So
I see. Yeah.
it was ideal. That also is an injector tap. That's just a shut off. You know, if anything happened with the pipe work in between, we can shut it off.
Yeah.
That's the injector tap.
You've got some pedals down at this side.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got.
Which one's your throttle?
There isn't. No throttle down there.
Oh right.
We've got the foot brake, as I was saying before. Just give that a press, and the steam goes down to the back foot. And then this one is, if you have the regulator open, if you're shunting trailers, for instance, or backing into a slow space, you can press that, open the regulator, and the wagon doesn't go. It just exhausts the steam up the chimney.
Yes.
And then as you lift that up, you can just inch the wagon. Means you've got two hands for the steering wheel, etc.
I see.
So sadly it doesn't work properly at the moment, but that's another project. But,
so that's your throttle then?
That's your throttle. Yeah. Just open that, get to there.
Right.
If you can hear the steam going through to the engine at the moment, and that's your throttle. Right. Easy. But you can see why you need the foot release pedal, because if you're trying to steer and use the regulator, it's difficult.